Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome to this video. Today, I'm going to talk about the last 5 years of my life and yours. Maybe not everything, okay? But I do want to talk about how I made it through the past 4 or 5 years in the building industry and what was involved in making it through that. So I'm going to do on the whiteboard a little talk, some drawings of graphs, basically, of what prices did and how they, interestingly, show where we're at now and why I'm, as far as garage prices, why we're at where we're at. So that's what we're going to do. I have my entertainment with me. She's going to help a little bit. Not sure what she's doing. She's just she's always into stuff. But anyway, we're going to do a little whiteboard talk. And I think, so I've written down the topics I want to cover. The first one is lumber. I want to talk about, because that's kind of been, in my business, that's where it starts, basically. So let's talk about lumber. So lumber, just to pick a point, it was around $275 per 1,000 board feet in 2019. And so in 2020, by the beginning of 2020, had gone up a little. Then it put a big dip. It's not abnormal for lumber prices to drop in the winter because demand is down, so it drops down. But when it started getting time to build, it skyrocketed. In 21, when lumber drops off, typically, it did. But then in mid-21, it went way, way up. Huge amount of increase. And then it came into the off-season, pretty big drop there as well. And then it's kind of like just a zigzag, but it didn't stay down long. Went right back up, almost not to the peak, but down a little bit. And then, excuse me, the past year or so, the futures have dropped. Lumber pretty much all through this year in 23, from June or so, has stayed pretty flat. A 2x4 8 typically is around $3.40. Atypically, back here they were just under $2 for a 2x4. So even though lumber futures are down, I probably didn't get that graph right. This is a little higher than this. Lumber plywood, 5/8 plywood, back here was $18 a sheet. Over here, it's $34 a sheet. So it's still, in 5 years, overall, it's gone up. Next, let's talk about steel. So steel in building garages relates to rebar, metal roofing, drip edge, garage doors. What else? Nails, of course. Those all, rebar in 2019 was somewhere around $5.50 per stick, per half-inch, 20-foot rebar. Over here today, it's somewhere around, there's quite a fluctuation, $8 to $10 per stick. So it's almost double. So it started here, 2019, we'll say, went up, took a moderate drop, and then it kind of spiked in the mid 2020. Went way up to 20 in 21 and way up September or so of 21. Then it took a drop, not consistent again, it fluctuate, and it dropped. So interestingly, both these prices, the lumber and the steel, are about double what they were 5 years ago. Gasoline, woohoo! Okay, gasoline, woo, yeah, it makes you go spin around. 219 back in 2019, going along, and it dropped beginning of 20, and from that point on all the way up through 22, I think it hit $4 or maybe a little more per gallon. So from 220 to 4. It took a little drop in mid 22. Now it's crept up back a little bit. I think right now I just bought gas at $3.58 a gallon. So $3.58 compared to $2.19. What's next? Okay, food. Oh, I got to eat. Food. Who doesn't love to eat, right? But who doesn't love to eat at a good price? So just to pick a point, we started there with food. It kind of dropped a little bit through the beginning of 2020, and then whoop, took a pretty good increase, and then through into the spring, probably I would say, of 20. No, I guess late. After I guess that would be late 20s, maybe September. Probably as the product comes in. Typically, it's a supply and demand. So if there's a lot of it, the price goes down. That's what it did. Then we hit the winter time of 21 and over to 22, coming in towards the end of 22. You might have thought it would drop, but instead it went way up, and it kind of rode around up there, and it's slightly tapering off just a little bit. But that is dramatic, a dramatic increase from where it was in 2019, kind of around the days of COVID, the height of COVID. Then along came clothing, hoodies, trousers, shoes, underwear, all that stuff that you need. Where are we? Clothing. So we'll pick a point again to start, and it stayed pretty flat all the way through into mid 2020. Took a drop right there. But then it just, from that point, I don't know the determining factors of what makes things go up and down, but it certainly went up pretty consistently without much break, has just been going up. Concrete costs. I'm going to start down here because it's more of a dramatic number in order to fit it on the whiteboard here. So typically, concrete consists of cement, limestone, a few other products, all of which have to be manufactured. So there's an expense, a fuel expense, in manufacturing everything in that. And then there's an expense delivering it, as well as equipment costs that those prices go up. So they have to cover their costs somehow. So from 2019 through the end of 2020, it went up it kind of crept up a little bit, but then took a drop. Concrete rarely ever drops. I don't think in 20 years I've had a decrease in my concrete costs. It's always, okay, this year we're going up $3 per cubic yard, or $4 or $5. Plus, then they started adding surcharges like delivery fee, a $50 delivery fee per load. So that affects, as well as the additives, the accelerators and the extenders. I forget what they call that. Anyway, I never use that. Probably that's why I don't remember it. So then in 21, it went up quite a bit. In 22, it went up again. And then we saw price increases in 22 a lot. Typically, in 10 years ago, concrete might stay the same for 3 years. It might not even go up. But in 2022 to current, they would increase almost like every 3 months, which was very rare. But they were just trying to cover their costs, and they had a lot of difficulties. There'd be times we couldn't even get concrete, or we'd have to wait a week or two to get it. Interesting interest rates. So interest rates were, and I'm not even going, I think they were 5 or 6%, 5% maybe here at this point. They went pretty regularly down through 20 into 21. Then they spiked pretty good in 21. Took a little dip. Then they went way, way up. And they're drifting off at this point. That's interest rates. Interest rates, so that's interesting. I think, for me, I would think they've got to go down because everything else is skyrocketing, except for lumber and steel, which I use a lot of. For both, those affect quite a bit of my projects, but all these other things affect them equally as well. And overall, for me, so in 2019, let's put garages down here. Garage. In 2019, the cost was $16,945. That was in 2019. I would go out, and I know if you've followed me for quite a while, you've seen a lot of the videos I've done about material costs and how they're driving the price of a garage. This shop would literally be filled. Let's just spin around and look at that. That wasn't there. That whole side, this whole side would be filled as high as I could reach with plywood, sheet good products that I would try to buy them at the right time. I'd try to buy them. I bought a lot of it at $18 a sheet when I knew that things were going to be going up. And you can typically, like quite often with hurricane season, it might go up. But there were other factors as well. So I filled my shop. It was interesting. I filled it with an $18 a sheet product because I had jobs sold for the whole year. So I stocked up all the material I needed for that year, plus all the lumber. I looked like a lumber yard. I had so much in inventory. But that plywood went from $18 to $82 a sheet by the time I had used it all up. Again, I would try to look forward, see what's going on with that. And I know I knew what was coming down the line a little bit for projects, and I would try to, again, I would just try to keep my prices as low as possible. And so I would have to increase. Let's go over here. The end result of my garage cost right now on the website is around $27,000 from 16 or 17,000. So it's gone up around $10,000 in 5 years. Almost, not double, a lot more. But I would try to buy materials, and I would rarely, for 3 years or so, I was increasing my prices every 3 months. So it just consistently went in that direction. I haven't raised my prices since June of this year, 2023. Maybe July. They haven't gone up. Materials, they kind of go up and down and up and down. But the other costs that affect projects, well, interest isn't really in my wheelhouse of my problem because I don't borrow anything for it, so I'm not paying an interest rate. The clothing going up, food going up, gasoline going up, concrete consistently going up. It's been just, I think it's far ahead of what normal inflation would be. But hopefully we're seeing a peak. I think interest rates starting to curve back down is going to help that within a little bit, 6 or 8 months maybe. It might, maybe by springtime we would see a break in that. I don't know what else, I'm kind of speechless right now. That's not uncommon. I quite often stumble on my words, but I think we're good. I'm good because I only have 3 more projects this year, and then I'm done for the winter anyway. We're so close to finishing each one of them. We have all the products are on site, the building materials, and concrete work is done. So everything, the only variant is how long it takes us to build. So we should be fine. We're going to be good for the year, and we'll be looking at, this winter, I'll be looking at different projects I'm going to be doing because I can't build garages in the winter. And I'm really excited about that. That's going to be fun. I already have some things planned, and we're going to have a fun winter. It's going to be a warm winter for me because I'll be in the shop. So, all right. So that's just an overview of where it's gone in the past 5 years, and kind of how I rode out that time frame without losing my shirt. I know a lot of people got in some serious trouble because of a lot of this that's happened, and we'll get out of it. We're resilient. So if you don't mind, if you could leave a comment about your experience in how you fared through this 5 years. It's affected every single one of us. So if you could just let me know, I'd appreciate it. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this. It kind of looks like a mess right here, but if you took each one individually, you can kind of see what it did. All right, see you later. Have a great day. She's our halftime show. Hi, puppy. She's a good dog. Yeah, you're a good puppy. Kind of hard for me to talk when she's putting on a performance, but we'll get through it.